Here's my official current view on doctors. I believe that I have given uninformed consent, aka non-consensual consent to doctors for many years. It's been happening since I was a small child. They just tell kind of little half-truths, like, there's really no harmful side effects to this. Or just basically not tell you that there could be problems. Little stuff, kinda. But most doctor interactions I've had are non-consensual. Like, just like I'm not given quite all the information. You know the answer they want you to reach. They want you to get the care they're suggesting. They have a reason for not giving you all the information. Because if you hear death is a side effect, you might flip out and not do, and like maybe most people who actually need the treatment and they could save lives would flip out and just not come back because they're not realizing it's really, really rare or whatever else. But I know I am an intelligent person who can reason things out for myself, and I have asked specifically for things, and I feel like I'm rational and reasonable, and I do feel a lot of pressure to do the course of action they're suggesting, and I know for a fact I was not given all the information, however minor. I also read all the paperwork, so I know it's not like, oh, well, it was in the paperwork. Like, they described it in the paperwork, No. I mean, it's possible. I don't think so, though. So anyway, yeah, no, I don't trust doctors because of that, because they don't say the whole thing. They don't tell the whole truth. You have to kind of use your brain when you go to the doctor. You have to be like, is this course of action actually going to benefit me or my child based on the scientific knowledge I know, which is somewhat limited, but somewhat there. That this makes reasonable sense. Okay, that being said, I don't think doctors are that unreasonable. I think doctors, once you reason with them, they also are like, oh yeah, that seems totally reasonable. Like, I would say it would be rare for me to get to give actual informed consent for a treatment. I would say that would be rare, but I would say it's also rare to find an irrational doctor who won't work with you, or who goes above and beyond just little subtle manipulative tactics to get you to go along with treatment, but they'll go above and beyond and do something a little more drastic. I would say that that's rare from my interactions with doctors. And I would say that most of the time what they suggest is reasonable. Also, I would also say that. I would say that I would choose, even though my consent is non-consensual, even if the risk, even if the outcome didn't turn out exactly how it did, maybe it was worse than it did or whatever, I still would think that would be a rational course of action. I would still think I would reasonably choose that course of action given the risk. Even if the outcome turned out bad, I would you don't know that going in. If I had all the information, I would probably still choose that because it seemed worth the risk, and sometimes the accident happens to you, or you are the one that the risk effects. And that happens to everyone. I feel like we all get it kind of in equal measure, just like sometimes bad stuff happens to us. Okay, so I would say not my part though is, so then, okay, I've had this view for a long time. I mean, it's stronger now. I've been to more doctors. Still getting, like, not being able to give full consent because I'm not given all the information. Like, I mean, it's getting better. I would say the last interaction I had was quite positive and quite a lot of just straight information. And I will say that I filled out some forms and they seemed a lot more like reasonable. I don't know, giving all the information. It's just the fact that I have to fill out these forms to begin with seems like a violation, but I don't know what else to do right now. I'm like already fighting way too many battles. So this is just, that one is not worth fighting. It's not a big deal. Maybe it's a big deal. It's not a big deal to me right now. Anyway. But I'm getting more information now. I don't know, depending on the doctor and depending on the type of visit. Will depend on the care you get. So yeah, I'm not 100% trusting of doctors. I feel like that's wise, but I'm also not 100% distrusting. I don't go to the doctor in panicky fear that they're going to just inject me, like, at the door. Or they're going to, like, lock me in the room and inject me with something. Like, I don't really have that fear. Like, I kind of do mostly because I've been to prison, and once you have been locked in a room, like, for real, like, as an adult, locked by other adults, that feels real weird. And it's very threatening. It's like, it's on this, like, primal level. It's, like, scary on a primal level. Very real, very threatening. And because I've had that experience, I feel like I do have, like, this primal fear, and maybe everybody kind of does too, of just being, like, locked in, and they're just like, now we're going to give you the treatment you didn't consent to. You know, or for your kid. Oh my gosh. So far, that has never happened, but there's always a fear that it could happen. Like, such a low fear. I feel like in real life, that's not, like, what would ever happen. But then this, like, fear has been instilled in me that this will happen at any time. It's happening now. It's gonna happen. It's, like, already happened. Basically, like, I don't know. It's just, it's not even true. Like, I don't know. It's a fear tactic. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. And then it's like, well, that just gets flipped on its head. But then I'm just over here going, like, what? Like, I still have the same view, though. Are we just, like, what if something happens at school and he's taking them to the doctor? Like, what is he going to consent to do at the doctor? Is he just going to be, like, willy-nilly? Because I'm not willy-nilly. Is he going to just give them antibiotics blanketly? Is he just going to, like, I don't know. Because when I go to the doctor and, like, I know it's strep, first of all, pretty much, like, fairly, I'm as confident as the doctor's going to be because I know the signs. I've talked to enough doctors. Like, I'm curious about this stuff. They always just tell me what they're looking at, and it's obvious, and I know how my children present with strep. So there. Anyway, but sometimes not. But if it's a different disease and we're not sure, like, if it's viral, antibacterial, viral or bacterial, then if they go to prescribe me an antibacterial, and I ask them, how do you know this is bacterial? And then they say, well, I don't know. But I mean, there's a good chance that it is based on these things, like these are clues. And it's like, okay, well, that makes rational sense. And he's like, well, you don't have to take it though. Like, if you're just get better, then you're fine, it's safe. And it's like, well, if it's safe-ish, safe enough to run the risk of not taking it, then that's good. We can take less antibiotics, even though that sucks for the pocket and for the bank accounts of like the drug companies. It sucks that they can't make that sale, but like, it's just generally better for your brothers and sisters. So why wouldn't you want that? So yeah, I ask, but then parents want a solution. It's like, you go to the doctor and you want medication, you want something for your little child who's so sick and you're just so sad. And if you don't prescribe to the parents, they get really upset. And I've seen this in action because I'm on the other side of it in the mommies groups on the Facebook. And I'm like, I see that happening. Moms will come on in the Facebook and say, this doctor's so incompetent. My child is running a fever of 99.7 or 101.3, and the doctor didn't do anything. They just said to wait and see. And I'm furious. And so many moms would comment, get a new doctor. This is ridiculous. They can't treat you like that. Da, 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 da. You would get the rational mom saying, well, that's not that high of a fever. And like, what did the doctor say? Oh yeah, that's super common advice. Like, this is likely viral. Like, you don't need to take an antibiotic. An antibiotic will just make your baby more likely to be antibiotic resistant. And get in the water supply. Now everybody has this. Now bacteria are getting kind of strong. It's alarmingly strong when the highest antibiotic we have. There are bacteria that have built defenses against that. And so if you end up with that disease, you're just kind of screwed. Like, you have that disease. They can't fix that. There's no antibiotic stronger. It's done. Like, that's it. So overtaking antibiotics is a really bad thing. So you don't want to do that, Facebook mom. You know, but they don't care. I mean, it's not like not all the time do people listen to those posts. They get offended. So I can see why a doctor might prescribe something, because it's like, but it might be bacterial, it might be viral. It's a 50-50. I don't know. Like, you're welcome to take an antibacterial because it's not like going to kill you. And it really might be bacteria, and then your kid will get a little better a little faster, you know. So I don't know. But I do think it's just known that we overprescribe antibiotics. So when I go to the doctor, I just ask if it's really necessary, and they usually give me just the truth. They usually say no, or they say do it if you want, but you don't have to. And then I just usually don't. But they give me the prescription so I can fill it if I need to. That's really handy and really convenient and just very much appreciated. We can just all be adults in society and just do like what we say we're going to do. So yeah, we just go. I don't really have that many problems with people. I just feel like this fear has been instilled in me, and like, why? That's what I don't understand, is what the purpose was. Was there like an actual fear, or was this just like a tactic? If it was a tactic, that's super creepy and like, oh my gosh. But if it was just an actual fear, like, how did that fear the question I would have then is, how did that fear get resolved? And like, how did that fear basically just get handled so easily? And like, why? Like, to me, it seems like there's like going to be some kind of like strange underlying explanation. Like, it's not so simple as just, well, I just had time to think it over now. Or like, I don't know. It just seems like there's going to be something else underlying, like, well, because I'm decided to go to the moon and eat a piece of dust for sandwich next morning. It could be just some kind of like the most random thing. I don't know. Like, it could be anything. And I'm kind of worried it's something like catastrophic. Like, if there could be a scenario that would result in catastrophe. And I don't know. I don't know how likely that is. Just because some of the fears and paranoias were like that, like somewhat uneducated, but then like not based in actual lived experience, but then I don't know, so strong, but now they're like just changed, and it's just I don't know what to think about the whole thing. I'm just in a very strange position. And it sucks because where did this fear of doctors go? I don't think that it really went anywhere. I think we're just doing a new thing now, just a willy-nilly lifestyle now. I think that he's just made the decision to go along with everybody else's plan or something, like taking, I don't know, like going the complete opposite direction, going from trying to take responsibility and realizing that has somewhat failed because like the decisions were just kind of wacky. And so it's almost like a giving up, like, okay, fine, I give up then on everything. If I'm such a bad person, if I don't know how to do things, then I'll just do whatever, like, who cares now, la la la. And it's just like, that seems like the catastrophic position. That seems like the new position that has been taken. So when a child has a sickness, accident, or emergency, and he takes them to the doctor, are they going to then prescribe an antibiotic in a situation that I feel like would benefit critical thinking, to then talk to the doctor about, hey, is this really necessary, and have the back and forth conversation with the doctor? I think that it will most likely just be like, okay, whatever he says, and then just go administer the doses, and just like critical thinking has gone out the window. Now we're just doing like the giving up, like willy-nilly kind of obedience thing. It just seems, I don't know if it's even obedience, just like compliance, or like full, just 180 degree full shift in how we think about life. I don't know. It just seems like all the things we thought were critical are now obsolete, just like that, with no real path in between the two. I think that's the part that bothers me, is there's not like a clear path of how that was achieved, how the 180 degree shift was achieved. It was just kind of overnight, just like, oh, here we're doing this different thing. It seems like a lack of, like I said, a lack of critical thinking, a lack of taking responsibility. It's just kind of like letting somebody else take responsibility. I don't know. It's a little bit unnerving, especially when children are involved.